That's why finding the perfect depth is so important. The temperature might be dropping, but this is a tactic that can't be ignored. I've seen so many people throw away these matches because they haven't fed this swim. This is a tactic that can't be dismissed during the autumn going into winter months. I'm worried I might have given away one of my best winter secrets. Right, you join me today at Partridge Lakes fishery, and we're doing a little bit of margin fishing. And I've just literally gone in and got my first fish. It feels like a little stocky, but it's a good start. But what we're here today is to show you that you can catch in the margins during this time of year. It's the autumn time now, going into the winter time. It's actually probably the first frost of the year. But we've literally just gone in on pellets. We're doing an all-out pellets approach today. Got a little bit of crushed expander as well. And that was my first feed, and I've literally got myself into an F1 straight away. So that's a great start to the session for us. But keep watching, and hopefully we can have a great day's fishing. Right, so we've just started the session and we've just had our first bite straight away, which is a really good start. But before we go back out and get a bit more fishing done, I think we'll run you through the rigs quickly and the bait. So we'll start with the rigs. Now here at Partridge Lakes, when you're fishing in the margins, there's like a little slope that leads up from the deep water. So it's nice and flat in the deep water and comes up right up to nothing sometimes towards the bank. Now this time of year during the autumn going into the winter months, and the water's clearing up, you don't want to really be in the edge in the shallow water. You want to try and find a bit deeper water. And now what I like to do when I come to, especially when I come to this venue, is two depths of fishing, 3 foot and 4 foot. Now I've got 2 rigs for that today. We'll run you through this rig first. This is the rig that I started on, it's in 4 foot. We'll start with the elastic. It's the 8 to 10s green slick. I absolutely love this elastic in the winter. It's the ultimate winter elastic for me. I use it for all my fishing in the winter time, F1s and carp on Snake Lake venues. That's my elastic choice. My main line is all 16 power micron main line, down to a 011 power micron hook length and a 16s prototype hook. They're not out yet, but they will be very soon. Now, my float choice for today is a Matrix fine slim wire float, just scaled down. The nice little float these for pellets. It's a wire float and it's a 1.5mm bristle. In the summer I like using a 1.7, but like I say, now we're scaling everything down. That's the float that I use for that. Now this is a 0.4 of a gram, and it's shotted with 8 number 9 cubes. This is shotted with, just strung out, probably just under an inch apart. Nice strung out bulk just for fishing with pellets. So that's that rig. And then my rig that I've got for him 3 foot is probably near enough the same. Again, 8 to 10s green slick, all 16 power micron main line, down to a 4-inch 011 power micron hook length, a 16s prototype hook. The only difference is it's the same float as well. The only difference is this is 0.2 of a gram float, and this float shotted with 5 number 10s, just slightly strung out for fishing in 3 foot. I didn't mention it on the other rig, but on that rig as well, I've got 2 number 8 back shots. I always like to use back shots just because I use a bit of a longer lash, keeps your pole tip away. And then them 2 back shots, you just hold on to that and you can lift into your bites quicker than fine little shy bites. Another thing that I never mentioned as well is when I like fishing with cubes in the summer and the winter, just because when you're fishing these finer main lines, they don't damage your line. You can move them about a little bit if you want to change your shotting pattern a little bit. So that's what I'm a cubes person, so I do use cubes. Now we've run through the rigs, we'll just run through the bait quickly. Now for today's session, it's an all-out pellet approach. today it is cold, but we're still autumn time. We're not right into the depths of winter at the minute, and I think pellets is a really, really good bait this time of year. So we've gone for an all-out pellet approach today. We've got some 2mm Thin Perfect micros, just soak them right through nice and soft. I think it's nice to use soft baits this time of year as well. I've got some 4mm Pro expanders. They're the flavoured ones. They're really, really good. I like them pellets. They're dead uniform and they're small in size, so I really like them. And then another thing that I think's a really good edge is I always have some crushed expander this time of year as well, just because on them days where you tap some pellets in and you're not getting a response, I feel like I add a little bit of crushed expander and it can draw that fish into your peg. It's just a little bit of extra attraction. Normally in the summertime I like to use match method mix, but it's a little bit too much food content in that for me. So what I do is, especially this time of year going into winter, I feed a crushed expander. There's nothing in that. All you're doing with that is literally creating that little bit of cloud to get that F1 into your peg, and hopefully you can nail it. So that's the baits and the rigs. Let's get some fishing done. Right, I'm going to start fishing. Now, what I do is when I get one of my expanders, I like to try and roll it so the full expander's rolled onto the hook, just so it's less chance of the actual expander coming off. So get an expander, just literally roll it right up the shank of the hook, and then it stays on nicely. Then you can ship out and it's not coming off when you're shipping out and stuff like that. Now, as I mentioned, they do fish stocks. They do move slightly when you've been netting a fish because they moved on that last fish that I caught, but just put them back into place. They're dead easy to put back into place. Now, when I kick the peg off for my first initial feed, I put a full medium Matrix pot in, just sprinkle it in, just my first initial feed to kick the peg off, get it going. But now I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put half of the pot in. It's probably about 20-25 micros. Dunk your pot before you go out. Just keeps them in your pot. Stops them coming out when you're shipping out all over the place and you're not feeding bait everywhere. This time of year, it's all about keeping everything neat and tidy, setting little traps, especially as well when you're pellet fishing. You're just setting that trap, and because you're not fishing for as many bites. And then when one comes in your peg, you nail it. So now when I get to my peg now where I am, literally what I do is I turn my pot over and sprinkle them out, just tap them out from a nice height, just making some noise. Now I can alter that as the session goes on, but when I do start, I do like to do that, just make some noise, try and draw something into your peg. Give it a couple of minutes, and lower that last little bit in so everything catches up with your micros that are falling through, right on your marker. And then you're fishing, and it's just about being patient now. You've got your traps set, you're in the right position. Now I've got the float dotted right down, just because the bites are really delicate bites. They're not moving in out, the F1s and carp are not moving in and out of your peg as quick, and the bites are not as aggressive as they are in the summer. And just be patient. I had a little indication, I missed a bite then. Now I've missed a bite, all I need to do now is come back and feed again. My expander's come off, put a fresh expander on. Now what I've done is for this session, I started in 4 foot in the deeper water. I do like to do that because say it was in a match situation and you started in the shallower water, I feel like if they're not in that shallower water to start, you've missed out on that little window where you can catch a few in the deeper water. And it's also as well, by starting in the deeper water, you can work out what depth of water you need to be in. So what I'm trying to say there is, if you go in now and I missed a bite, if I go in and miss another bite and another bite and I keep missing bite, I think that's a telltale sign that I need to put this rig down, then pick my 3 foot rig up. But we've only just started this session, so we're still trying to work out what we need to do. But it's a good sign that we are getting signs like that. Again, back over your marker, turn your pot over from height, just tap them micros in again. Same amount of feeder micros, half full my medium pot. Pull your rig over your marker and just lower that last little bit in with your micros. You try and do that just so you eliminate line, as if there's one coming in your peg while your micros are falling through, your rig's not in the peg. Now it's on a slope here, so obviously, as I explained a bit earlier, it goes from the deep water right up to the bank, sometimes to nothing. And what I like to do is when I've fed and I've got my rig in position, I try and keep me back shots to the right hand side towards the bank. It's just always pulling your rig against the bank, so you're not drifting off the bottom. You're still over your marker, you're just keeping your float over your marker, but you're just keeping that rig towards the bank side. So then you're always on the bottom. I think what I normally like to do is give it 5 minutes. If I've not had an indication after 5 minutes, I'd probably come back, fill my pot up again, half full, and then go back out and feed it again. What I like to do as well is when I'm fishing in the margins, is fish longer out my peg. When you fish too close to you, especially this time of year going into the winter, I think the fish, because the water's clearing up, the fish are a bit more dubious, are coming into your peg shorter and closer to you, they're just a bit scared. So we're fishing further out your peg, I think it gives you a bit better opportunity of them coming in to catch him. Right, I just want to take a moment of your time from the video. We're here at Partridge Lakes on Coarse before, and we're having a fantastic day in the margins. But what I'd like to know is where you go at this time of year, autumn, going into winter time and catching the margins. Drop us a comment in the comments below and we'll take a little look at them, because I'd really like to know. So let's get back to the fishing. Oh, that was another liner then. Now, what we'll talk about as well is why... Oh, I missed another bite then again. That was a good... looked like a good bite. I just missed it. I'll come back, feed again. Now, because I'm getting indications and signs at the minute, I'll just keep repeating what I'm doing. But if I get to like where I can't get them on the hook and I'm still missing bites, then I'll probably think about putting this rig down and picking that 3 foot rig up and just coming up and trying that and see if they come up the slope and it's better. But I think you've still got to give your peg time to develop. You can't just literally miss 2 bites and then say, right, I'm putting this down and picking me 3 foot rig up. You've just literally only just started fishing, so you're still sort of working out what depth of water the fish want to be in. Sometimes I think it's inevitable as well, because there's not as many fish coming in your peg, so the fish that is coming in your peg can do what he wants. So you are just getting liners off him. I think the more you feed as well, you keep going in, tapping a few micros in, building your peg nice and slow and steady. That will draw more numbers of fish in your peg and then get them more confident as well. There's days in the winter where you might be just fishing for a handful of bites. Do not rush. You don't need to rush anything. There we go, and we're in. So I was patient. I was going to take that rig out and come back and refeed, but then I kept my eye out. I seen that sign of blows around the float, and I give it that extra few minutes, and clearly there was one there in the peg. It's a nice fish, this as well. But you can tell when it's a proper bite. You just see that little dink on the floor, got it shotted right down. Absolutely love it this time of year fishing. It's brilliant fishing pellets when it's like this. Yeah, it's a nice fish, this. Feels like a good F1. Just plodding about. This green slick's absolutely perfect for it this time of year. Nice and soft. Don't need to rush. Oh, it's a nice fish. I think it's a... Sure, I've seen a little glance of it then. It was like a ghost. It might have been a ghostie. I could be wrong. Just take your time. You're fishing lighter main lines, lighter root lengths, lighter gauge ducks. Every fish counts this time of year. You don't need to pull their heads off. Especially when you're getting good fish on like this. Looks like a little koi. It's a lovely fish. Now they're the fish that you want. Now you see, by being patient, you reap your rewards. He's an absolute stunner. I'm going to try and hold him up to show you. Beautiful fish. If I can hold him up, let's have a little go, see if I can get him up for you. Hopefully he'll behave. They normally do this time of year. Look at that, an absolutely stunning fish from the margins on pellets. And that's what you find this time of year as well. By fishing in the margins, you catch them better stamp fish as well at the same time. That's an absolute stunner. And we're having a fantastic day's fishing here at Partridge Lakes today. But I'm going to keep fishing away at that and literally just doing the same thing until I feel like I need to change anything. I'll just keep repeating the process. So we'll crack on with that and we'll come back to you a little bit later. Right, I've been fishing away on that 4-foot line, just sprinkling some micros in with an expander on. It's been really, really good. I've had a really good run of fish, but I feel like now that it's sort of fading away on me, the peg a little bit. They're not coming up into that shallow water, so I'm not going to have a try on that because I'm not getting any liners or indications or anything like that. But what I'm going to do this time round, I'm just going to feed a little bit of crushed expander and hopefully that can draw some fish back into my peg. Now how I would do that is, just take the sprinkle lid off my medium pot. Now when I say feed a little bit of crushed expander, I mean it's the smallest amount of crushed expander. You don't need to feed a lot, you don't want to feed too much. It is a little tiny nugget. And then all I'll do is I'll put like a few micros in that as well. And then go in and feed that, and hopefully that can sort of kick-start my peg again and get it going. Because the fish have been there, just sprinkling micros, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Catching some lovely carp, some proper fish. But I do feel like it is fading. Just have to excuse that noise a little bit. It's just a bird scurrier in the field over there. It's quite loud when it goes off. I'm sure it does the job. But just take your time shipping out, because you've got no sprinkle lid on your pot. You don't want that crushed expander come out your pot. Get over your marker. Make sure you're dead accurate. Sprinkle them few micros in and then just tap that little bit of crushed expander in. Now I'm hoping now that this sort of brings me peg back to life. Get it back to how it was before. Lower that last little bit of your rigging and then you set fishing. The key today has been be patient. Everything you've caught is a real good stamp of fish. It's never going to be fast and furious this time of year. The actual winning match weights will have all dropped, so you don't need as many bites. It's not like the middle of summer when they're ravenous and they're coming in your peg. You can still have a fantastic day and put a nice weight together by being patient. I know we're fishing in the right depth of water because I've had the odd liner and miss bite, but there we go, straight away. Brilliant. As soon as I fed that little nugget of crushed expander, it's brought it back in. This is why I'll never go anywhere in winter without the crushed expander. Just take your time, no need to rush, like I say. Every fish counts in the winter time. It's an F1. But just by doing that, it's brought it back to life. Another F1. He's a lovely little F1 he is. I'll just show you him. It's a nice little fish, beauty. But there you go, just by feeding a little bit of crushed expander, it's brought the peg back to life and you catch fish like that. But there you go, I hope you've enjoyed the little video. It's full of little tips and tricks to fishing in the margins this time of year. You don't need to fish tight in the margins. You can come away from the margins in them depths of water on the slope, and you can have a real good day's fishing and put plenty of fish in your net. I think the key factor today from my session has been patience, being patient and waiting for them bites, and like I say, you reap the rewards. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the bank again soon.